Hello everybody, welcome back to another brand new video, and in today's video we will be doing yet another tier list, but it will be my first tier list for My Hero Academia. I've done Rizz tier lists for all the other animes I've watched so far, so with My Hero Academia it's no different, even though the Rizz term is outdated since the very first Rizz tier list back in like summer last year. You know, it's a bit of a dead word, a dead meme, but that's not going to stop me from making a My Hero Academia Rizz tier list today. So, without further ado, let's just jump right into it with me explaining the tiers. At the top, we have Unspoken Rizz. You do not have to try to Rizz. People are just flocking themselves to you. They want to be with you. It's just that simple. You don't even have to try to Rizz, you just pull. Rizz Lord, you do have to try, but you're good at it. You're good at Rizzing, but you do have to try. It's not going to be given to you like the people with Unspoken Rizz. Below that, you have Funny Rizz. You have to be funny about your Rizz. It's harder for you than the Rizz Lords. You know, you might not be that good at Rizz. You have to get inventive, be funny, but overall, you could get the job done. And below that is Gets Rizzed Up. These are your quiet, shy types, the people who get approached to get Rizzed up. It's a bit different from Unspoken Rizz because people aren't throwing themselves at you, but you do get approached to get Rizzed up every once in a while. Below that is Scaring the Hoes. Your Rizz is so bad that you're actively scaring away the hoes. And the final tier is Sexual Harassment. Your Rizz is so bad that the cops are being called. And without further ado, let's just jump right into this with Izuku Midoriya Deku, who is a Rizz Lord. He Rizzes Ochako, he Rizzes Toga, and he even Rizzes Bakugo, if that's the way you want to look at things. So Deku, without a doubt, our MC, our determined, hard-working MC, is a Rizz Lord, no doubt about it. As for our deuteragonist, Bakugo, he is scaring the host. Absolutely. I understand that Bakugo has his simps in the community, but if this man came up to you in real life and screamed in your face and was loud and abrasive and just a hater, he's probably going to scare you away. Let's be honest. Now we have Shoto, who is also a Rizz Lord. The only real problem with Shoto is the fact that he may not know he's a Rizz Lord, even though he is. Because he does Rizz a couple of people in the show, the problem is he doesn't know that he's Rizzing them. So maybe that's Unspoken Rizz, now that I think about it, but for now, I'm going to keep him in Rizz Lord because I think that when he tries, he's pretty damn good at it. Next up, we have Ochako, who gets Rizzed up. She gets Rizzed up by Deku. She does Rizz up Toga, I guess, but the thing about that is, like, Toga's her own special case of gets Rizzed up. She's, like, the most gets Rizzed up character. We'll get to Toga, but the thing is, like, Ochako Rizzing on Toga isn't really, like, intentional. So the thing is, I think her getting Rizzed up by Deku is intentional by Deku's part, which means she gets Rizzed up. Ida is scaring the hoes. Now, you may disagree with me on this, but this is basically Nick A30 in anime form. He is, your family-friendly, asks the teacher for more homework, wants to study all the time, super, just a stick in the mud at all times, and if this man tried to Rizz, he has that articulate particular Rizz, and I don't know if that's gonna work with most crowds. Next up we have Froppy, who, of Class 1A, is the most questionable placement for me. I'm just going to put her in Gets Rizzed Up, but honestly, I don't know where to place Froppy. You guys can have a field day with her down in the comments if you want, because I honestly don't know where to place her. Probably the most underdeveloped in Class 1A. That's like a significant character. Obviously, you like your Ojiros. Well, I'm going off on a tangent. Let's just move on. Kirishima, Funny Rizz. Now, not only is he a funny guy with like funny ideals, like him wanting to be manly all the time, but he can also get hard whenever he wants, and I'm sure that is a tactic that he can bring up, and that's funny. That's some funny Rizz right there. So is Mina Ashido, who is also in the funny Rizz category. She, in the show, someone's getting bullied, and she goes up to the bullies, and the whole scenario ends with them breakdancing. And now, if that isn't funny Rizz, I don't know what is. Next up, we have Tokoyami, who is scaring the hoes. Despite Tokoyami being a rather wholesome individual, he is also dark and emo and a bird heteromorph with a frickin' scary-ass quirk in Dark Shadow, who's probably very possessive of Tokoyami, if we're being honest. So if Tokoyami isn't the person scaring the hoes, Dark Shadow is going to be the one scaring the hoes, so that's what places him there. Momo Yaoyorozu gets Rizzed up. Her whole arc in the show is dealing with like her confidence issues, so I don't know if she would have the confidence to go up to someone and Rizz them, which is why she gets placed in the Gets Rizzed Up tier. And next up, Minoru Mineta. And I don't think anyone's going to be questioning the placement here. It's very quite simple where Mineta goes, and it's in that tier. And I don't even need to explain why. We can just move on to Denki Kaminari, who is in Funny Rizz. Even though Kaminari has a little bit of the same ideals as Mineta, he's also not as upfront with it, and he also rizzes on Jiro, who is going to go and gets rizzed up. So Kaminari is actually a proven Funny Rizzler, which puts him in the Funny Rizz tier, and Jiro in the gets rizzed up tier, who does get rizzed up by Kaminari. Take a shot every time I say Rizz in this video. You'll be blackout drunk probably now. But next up we got Shoji, who is a Rizz Lord. Absolutely. The thing about Shoji is that after Final War, this man is a heteromorph icon. He breaks down all these barriers for the heteromorphs. He is maybe a top 10 hero by the end of the manga. But the thing, he has that aura too. So not only is he a badass, probably the most recognizable heteromorph superhero, this man has no problems pulling. Shoji is that guy. Aoyama gets rizzed up. Very submissive guy, as he does submit to All for One in the series. He is a traitor. That's a whole thing. So Aoyama gets rizzed up. Sero is pretty underdeveloped, but I'm going to put him in the Funny Rizz category because he does hang around a lot of the people in Funny Rizz. Sero also has his simps in the community, so if people in real life are attracted to him, I mean, people in universe might be attracted to him too. Ojiro and Hagakure, this duo I will also put in Funny Rizz. They kind of rizz on each other, and they're both funny people, so that's about the explanation I got for you. The back half of Class 1A is pretty underdeveloped. Koda should have his own tier, that tier being scared of the hose, but I'm going to put him in Gets Rizzed Up. He's also just a shy guy. He's definitely not approaching anybody to Rizz, which means he pretty much can't go in any of the other tiers. And Sato, the final member of Class 1A, I'm actually going to give Rizz Lord status, and it's quite simple. In the show, he does win the dorm room contest because of his cooking skills. He's a great cook because of his quirk, and that cooking Rizz is going to go a long way for him when he's trying to Rizz someone, and I think it'll work in his favor 99% of the time, putting him in Rizz Lord status. Now we're on to some pro heroes and some other students that are outside of Class 1A, kicking things off with Eraserhead, who is going to be our first unspoken Rizz of the video. Not only is Eraserhead probably the most Simp 4 male character in the show, outside of another one we'll be talking about later, this man has aura. Every person in the show knows how cool Eraserhead is. Even Shigaraki, when he gets bested by Eraserhead, has to stop and admit how cool Eraserhead is. I promise you Eraserhead has no problem pulling anybody that he wants. His bestie, Present Mike, though, definitely has to try, especially with that hairdo, because it's atrocious. But he's a funny guy, and I think that he can make that Funny Rizz work, especially with his quirk, which is pretty funny. Midnight, though, does, in fact, say some weird comments about underage boys during the show, which is going to put her in the sexual harassment tier. All Might, despite not being romantically interested in anybody in the show, is unspoken Rizz. Because if you're going to sit here and tell me that the symbol of peace, All Might, has to try to Rizz, I mean, you're kidding yourself. Even in his not All Might form, like his generic base human form where he looks a bit cooked, he's still the symbol of peace, and he can pull anybody that he wants. All Might is in Unspoken Rizz off of aura alone. Next up, his two mentors, though, we got Gran Torino and Funny Rizz. You know, he's a short old guy, but he's a funny short old guy, and I think that he can definitely Rizz. You know, he's been around the block, so that's that. And Nana Shimura is a proven Rizz Lord, as she does, in fact, have a son. That son did turn out to be a piece of shit and raise Shigaraki, but Nana Shimura, still a Rizz Lord nonetheless. Now we got three Class 1B people, kicking things off with Monoma, the GOAT, who is scaring the hose, unfortunately, because he's just a hater. Yeah, Monoma is just the biggest hater in the world, and he'd probably be more focused on hating on Class 1A than you, his partner, which means he's scaring away the hose. Kendo, though, Rizz Lord. She is in the pageant during the school festival, and she does get votes to win, which means she was rizzing on some of those people in the crowd to get them votes. and I think that she does not really have a problem rizzing. Tetsu Tetsu, though, is going to go exactly where his counterpart Kirishima is going, right in Funny Rizz, because they're both funny guys, and they can also both get hard on a whim. It's pretty much the same reason for the Kirishima placement. Now we got the big three, kicking things off with Mirio, who is absolutely Funny Rizz. Mirio is just a goofy guy, and his whole shtick is about making people smile, so without a doubt, that's Funny Rizz, absolutely. Tamaki Yamajiki is another one like Koda, where he's scared of the hose, which pretty much means he gets rizzed up. This man has no confidence. He is not going up to anybody to try and rizz them, so he's going to get rizzed up. And Nejire, also in the pageant scene, she wins the pageant, so she's actually even more of a Rizz Lord than Kendo. But yeah, she rizzes those people to get those votes, and Nejire is a Rizz Lord. Next up, we got Shinzo. He's probably scaring the hose. He's an Edge Lord. That's all I gotta say. He's very motivated, but he's just an edgelord emo kid. He's gonna scare away the hose, probably like Tokoyami. Hatsume, also probably scaring the hose. The thing about Hatsume is she's very much like the Hanji of MHA, where there's pretty much only two placements for a character like them, and it's Funny Rizz, because they're a goofball, or Scaring the Hose, because they have freaking motor mouth and are just obsessed with, like, how Hanji's obsessed with Titans and Hatsume's obsessed with her babies and technology. She probably doesn't even have time for a committed relationship, because she's too freaking committed to her job, her grind, and saving the fucking world with building a coffin in the sky and all this shit. So Hatsume, when she tries to Rizz, she's probably fucking talking like this and blah, 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 and scaring the hose. It's a whole thing. Inasa gets Rizzed up. It's very quite simple. Shoto did, in fact, break down this man's cold exterior and got him to become friends. So Inasa gets Rizzed up. Kami is Funny Rizz, the brain rot queen right here. She does get Rizzed up by Hawks. She does call Hawks a Rizz cake. But Kami is Funny Rizz for me personally because of that, just that brain rot. And so is Miss Joke, who literally uses proven Funny Rizz in the show to try and Rizz up Aizawa. Now we're getting on to the actual pro heroes. Endeavor. Yeah, that's in fact where he's going to go. He has the arranged marriage Rizz, which unfortunately puts Rei and gets Rizzed up, even though I don't really feel good about that placement. Fuyumi also probably gets Rizzed up. Again, like Froppy, kind of no idea where to place them. But Natsuo is in fact a proven Rizz Lord because he does say at the end of the manga that he is seeing someone. So that means he had to get down and dirty and Rizz. Hawks is Unspoken Rizz because he is the other Simped 4 character with Eraserhead. Yeah, so not only does like the community simp for Hawks, but I also think that like even say in the show that like he's like a very popular hero with females or something. I don't know if I'm tripping, but I'm pretty sure they say something like that. Hawks doesn't have to try to Rizz is my point. Now we got Genist and Edgeshot, who are both Rizz Lords. And the reason for that is Edgeshot is a ninja, which is just cool as fuck. If a ninja hero tried to come up and Rizz me, I'd be down. That's just cool. And Best Genist is a fashion icon, so, you know, he's got drip. Mirko is Unspoken Rizz, probably the most simped for female character of the show. Yeah, she's Muscle Mommy, and Muscle Mommies don't really have to try to Rizz, do they? Then we got Mount Lady and Kamui Woods, who are, like, dating ? So it really depends if you want to put Kamui Woods in Rizz Lord and Mount Lady and gets Rizzed up, or if you want to swap them. Mount Lady seems like more of a Dami Mommy to me, so I'm going to go ahead and put her in Rizz Lord, but, you know, if you want to swap those, you can go ahead and do that just fine. Next up, we got Sir Night-Eye, who is going to go right there, because that tickle machine that we see in that one episode that he uses on Bubble Girl is, that's got to be against the law. That's got to be against the law. And then we got Fat Gum, Funny Rizz. Because here's the thing about Fat Gum, is he's a funny guy, he's a fat, funny guy, right? But then he's going to shed that weight, and you realize that he's actually hot. And that is a great party trick to pull when you're Fat Gum. So it's going to go ahead and get him Funny Rizz. Now we got two of the Wild Wild Pussycats. We got Mandalay and Pixie Bob. Mandalay is a Rizz Lord. She's, you know, honestly, probably shouldn't be rating her. Don't know a lot about her. But, you know, that's just the placement that I'm going to give because she's bad. But Pixie Bob is going to go ahead and go right there because she, like Midnight, does in fact make comments about underage boys. And then we got Star and Stripe, who is a muscle mommy like Mirko. But she doesn't have simps in the community, which is very strange. So I'm going to go ahead and put her in Rizz Lord. But now we have the villains to end off this tier list. Starting off with Tomura Shigaraki, who is scaring the hoes because he's an incel League of Legends player turned villain turned like demon lord who only cares about destruction. Yeah, absolutely not. Toga is the most gets rizzed up, like I mentioned earlier. Her whole entire quirk is about finding someone that she loves and wanting to become them. So easy gets rizzed up. Now we got Twice, aka Jin Bubaigawara, who's gonna go ahead and go in funny Rizz, cause he's a funny guy. He's a funny guy. He could get rizzed up. I could see the argument for gets rizzed up. I don't think he's scaring the hoes, even though he's a bit crazy. I just think he's a funny guy. He's going in funny Rizz. Dobby is scaring the hoes, though. I understand that Dobby has his simps, but in real life, that would not fly, because this man has disgusting burns on him. He stinks. There is like that rotting flesh smell is what he smells like. He's only concerned with hating Endeavor, so there's no way he's going to care about you. And also, the man, his genitals are probably burned off, if we're being completely honest. So that is 4 big boy reasons on why Dobby is scaring the hoes. But so is Spinner, because Spinner is also an incel, like Shigaraki, but he's also a giant lizard, which is going to make rizzing even harder for him. Compressed, though. Rizz Lord, because he's hot. And we do see that when he does take off his mask for the first time. And he's also a magician, so he can use magic to help him Rizz. And, you know, it could work. Muscular, holy fuck. I don't know what's up with Muscular, but he's a scary guy, and I wouldn't put it past him. I wouldn't put it past him. He enjoys killing for sport. We don't know what else this man enjoys. Let's just stay far away from him as possible. Kurogiri and Gigantomachia are both gets rizzed up because Kurogiri is just Shigaraki's servant and Gigantomachia is All For One's servant. So there you go. All For One is going to go right in the sexual harassment tier. He's obsessed with stealing other people's quirks. He's also a big bad of the series that's been around for many, many years. He's just a very scary individual who is just like the most evil individual, so I'm just going to put him in the bottom tier. Stain is scaring the hoes. For sure. Scary motherfucker, probably into doing stuff with blood. So if you're into that, then I guess Stain's your guy. But most people aren't, which means he's going to be scaring the hoes. Overhaul would experiment on you, and he's also a psychopath. The Doctor would also experiment on you. So if you're getting experimented on, that's probably illegal, which means sexual harassment tier. We got Gentle and La Brava. Gentle, proven Rizz Lord, because he rizzes up La Brava. So there you go. With those two. And to end things off, we got the Meta Liberation Army. We got Redestro, who is going to scare the hoes. Because he looks like Dr. Doofenshmirtz, and his quirk also makes him look disgusting. And he's also just a bit of a loser. Curious gets rizzed up. Her whole thing is like being a journalist and trying to learn more about others, so it's pretty easy for her to get rizzed up that way. Skeptic is scaring the hoes. He's incel like Shigaraki. Trumpet, though, is a Rizz Lord, and his quirk is literally about inspiring others and like boosting morale. And this dude has got game, I promise you. Someone whose quirk is about boosting morale has game. And then we got Getten, who is a Rizz Lord. We don't know a lot about Getten, but that's just what I feel. A person with an ice quirk who's cool like Getten probably doesn't have to try that hard. And then ending things off with Muscle Mommy Lady Nagant, who is absolutely unspoken Rizz. Another one of the characters that is simped for a lot, and I see the vision, and I agree. And she's unspoken Rizz. There's no way Lady Nagant has to try to Rizz. So that has been my tier list, my MHA Rizz tier list. Comment down below if you agree or if you disagree with my placements. If you want to make your own, go ahead and do that too. Like, comment, and subscribe for more content just like this. And as always, ladies and gentlemen, have a wonderful day.